Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2024. To another episode of Harry's Book Cafe. I wish you had a fantastic New Year celebration. So New Year is a time for New Year's resolution, but as a booktuber, book lover, I think we should talk about the New Year book solution. So for me, the book solution is that I want to tackle some of the books that's been sitting on my shelf for a very, very long time. I want to tell you about what these books are, and I want to tackle them during the new year. I also wanted to read a little bit more about classics. I always have this fear about reading classic books, partly because I think some of them can be quite tedious and the vocabulary can be very challenging, so I'm a little bit lazy, but no longer. So in 2024 I want to tackle at least a few classic novels, which I'll tell you a little bit more. The other thing I want to do is I want to read a little bit more non-fictions. I think they are in many ways even better than fictions because you learn a lot by the end of it. So very, very interesting. I want to increase my non-fiction workload. Okay, so without further ado, let me tell you about the books that's been sitting on my shelf for a very, very long time. The first one is The Resurrectionist. This I bought so many years ago, and you know about this book. I bought it when it first published, so many, many years ago. It's about this young man who is an apprentice to this master anatomist, and one thing leads to another. He started to work for the master's amices, and involves many grave diggings and illegal trading bodies and stuff like that. So based in Georgian England, Georgian London. I read the review, and there's apparently quite a lot of descriptive details of murder and blood and body parts. So definitely my cup of tea. I want to give it a try this year for sure. The other one is The Pirate's Daughter. Again, I have this book sitting on my shelf for a very, very long time, and I definitely want to tackle this in the new year. This is a story of a charming swashbuckler who went to Jamaica, and one of the native ladies sort of falls in love with him, had a daughter, he runs away, and this is all the story of the love between the mother and daughter. I'm not too clear on the storyline because the synopsis didn't really make it very, very clear. But so far from what I have read from the synopsis is very, very interesting. So I want to definitely give it a try this year. So the other thing I've mentioned in the intro is I want to read a little bit more classics. And the first one is this absolute monster of a book, Karenina. I have a Chinese copy back at home, and my mother always kept urging me to give it a try, give it a read, because it's a fantastic book. She read it multiple times and she loved it each time, and she has been persuading me to read this book for a very, very long time, and I never have been actually give it a try because, as I said, I'm quite lazy when it comes to classic books. But I definitely give this a try. I'm a little bit apprehensive because I tried to read War and Peace by the same author, Tolstoy. I find War and Peace a little bit very, very hard going, so I hope Karenina will be slightly easier. I mean, it's certainly smaller, relatively speaking, compared to War and Peace. Very, very big challenge, I think. I've definitely finish that no matter what. I will not DNF this book no matter what. And it's a great copy. I love this copy. It's from Folio. Just beautiful, beautiful cover. The other non-fiction, again, it's a massive, massive challenge, is The Second World War by Antony Beevor. I've read many of Antony Beevor's books. I've read Berlin. I've read Stalingrad. I find his writing very easy to digest for a non-historian, for everyday reader. It's quite detailed, especially Stalingrad. When I'm reading that book, I just remember as if I'm there myself, reading it as if it's non-fiction. It was really, really grippy. So I actually quite enjoy this author, Antony Beevor. This one, however, covers not just Stalingrad. It covers pretty much the entire Second World War. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. It's around about 1,000 pages. So it covers not just the Western Front, but Eastern Front between China and Japan and the rest of the Orient and Southeast Asia. That part of the Second World War is a massive knowledge hole in my mind, for me certainly. So I want to really close that gap and know a little bit more about, you know, the Eastern Front and see what's happening in China and Japan during the war. So yeah, looking forward to do that. It's going to take a long time to actually finish reading that. The other non-fiction that I'm looking forward to read this year is this one here, The Last Men in Russia. I love this cover. I just think it's phenomenal. So this is a story of almost like a journey. It's almost like a travelogue, but not quite, of a writer's journey following this Orthodox or unorthodox priest traveling across Russia from Moscow all the way to Siberia, experiencing gulags and dusty, poverty-stricken villages throughout the way. I have always had this fascination about Russia and its history. I find it very interesting. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. I love the cover. I love the story, what is promising. So brand new author. I'm not sure what to expect, but I hope this is going to be a fantastic read. I'll let you know as soon as I finish that. And the other one, the other classic, I'm jumping around between classics and non-fiction. The other classic I'm really looking forward to read is Moby Dick. Again, I love this cover, the Oxford University Press. I find it absolutely amazing. Very interesting book. Every time there is a recommendation for classic books, this one almost always come up. It has a very memorable first line in any work of literature. I think second only to Rebecca. And the first line of this book is, "Call me Ishmael." Very simple, yet you just can't help want to read what's happening next. So looking forward to reading this one. Absolutely phenomenal. The other books that I really want to focus on is Stephen King's books. I used to be a massive Stephen King fan. I still am, to be honest. It's still one of my favorite authors. I just find recently I moved away from him a little bit, and he has released at least 4 or 5 books that I haven't read. So those are the ones like Billy Summers, Fairy Tale, what's the other one? Holly. I really want to read those books. So definitely tackle these in the new year. The other ones I want to read is this one here, The Wilder Girls. This is about a particular nasty sort of pandemic that's happening across the globe. And these girls in a boarding school sort of got stuck in their island. The disease has a particular disfiguring propensity. So if you got affected by this disease, then you are likely to be disfigured. It reminds me somewhat of the disease called Noma, N-O-M-A. I don't think many people know about this. I read this in Guardian. Do check it out from the Guardian website. It is a terrifying disease, so have a read of that. I think in many ways this resembles that particular disease and what happens in that sort of closed environment when the girls were left on their own with no outside help. It sort of reminds me of the vibe of The Lord of Flies, so I really want to give that a try. So the other thing I would try to read is books about Israel and Palestine. I think given what's happening today, it will be a good idea to actually seek more knowledge in this particular area and see what's causing the conflicts, and have a more perspective about the historical backgrounds. I think that will be ideal. That's pretty much it, guys, for this video, short and sweet. So what are the books that you are aiming to read in the new year? What's your book solution for the new year? Please leave a comment down below, and any sort of recommendations you can have, please leave them down in the comment section. It all helps me grow as a full-time booktubers. So thank you ever so much. Once again, Happy New Year, guys. Please give it a thumb up and subscribe. It really helps me a lot. Thank you very much. Cheerio.